Welcome to The Rich Life Recipe, a show where we bring you people that you wouldn't find on any other show, where we talk about the exact ingredients that you need to have a rich life. Today, of course, as always, I am joined by my co-hostess with the mostess, Alicia Shiro. Alicia, welcome to your own show.
Thank you, Jason. Happy to be here. Super excited for our guest today. Her name is Lisa Pickell, and we are super excited because Lisa is the first woman to win the World Series of Poker Circuit Ring in No Limit Hold'em. What an accomplishment. And she's also a prominent force at Poker Power. Lisa, thank you for joining us today.
Woohoo! Thank you for having me. I am super excited to be here. Awesome.
So I think one of the biggest questions I had is you've broken some incredible ground in the poker world. Could you tell us what were the first ingredients that inspired you to pursue this career?
Competitiveness. I think, being the only child that I am definitely a competitive person, and it was not, the world of poker did not have a lot of women. So it was like, I can do this. And also the social aspect of the game. I came from an acting background, so it really allowed me to use a little bit of my acting skills at the table to my advantage, especially when it came to reading people or what I thought I could make happen. There's something to be said about the roller coaster ride, that roller coaster effect. Coming back from a deficit or a huge loss is such an ego boost. I guess that's kind of the adrenaline side of poker that I love.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
So I have a ridiculous life. I have lost it all 4 times. And like lost it. Like I built a swimming school in Southeast Asia, which I sold for 2.3 million. And then I immediately got married and I went traveling at 29. And then my wife had a situation where she fell madly in love with the chef of this hotel that she was working in. And I lost everything. And then I built it again. And then I got in trouble for building a company while inside another company. And then lost it all again, and then got married again, didn't sign a prenup, lost it again. They married another time. So if those that are counting, that makes three wives. Lost it again. I think I was too focused on work at this point and didn't even have an antenup or a prenup, even though Donald Trump told me to get one. But I was in a room once and I was telling the story to someone, and a guy came up to me at the end and he said, "Can I tell you something?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "I hope you're not going to get upset." I said, "Okay." He said, "I think you have a gambling addiction." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" Like, I don't gamble. Besides one time, which I'll tell you about, I'm sure in the show, where I won $25,000 in Vegas at the Cosmo. I hardly ever play anything. Even when I do business, I make the risks really small. I pre-sell, then I build. Excuse me. And he said, "Be honest with me. When you play poker, when do you feel most alive?" And I said, "When I push all my chips in and I lose." And it's almost like I'm saying to God, please forgive me for those that are listening, I'm not trying to be blasphemous. Is that all you can do to me? is take everything I have, because I will leave the table and I will make it all back. And I've done it again and again. And it's true. I feel most alive when I am the underdog, when I have nothing, when everything is taken and I have to build my life back up chip by chip by chip. So you, as a professional poker player, when do you feel most alive? When all your chips are on the table? When you sit at the table? Or when you've lost and leave the table?
Well, first of all, is there a list for wife number 4? Because to me, someone who can build and lose and then build again is an amazing human being, because the grit that takes is what it takes to survive in building massive businesses, in being a professional athlete, poker player, anything that is to that nth degree, you have to have that inside you, because in those fields, you get told no a lot and you get broken down a lot. So it's that, pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and proving to yourself that you can do it. I don't know that you have a gambling addiction, Jade. I think you might have an ego problem, right? So maybe it's more about ego. And when you look at incredibly successful people, you have to have an ego. You have to have an ego to say, I am the best. I can do this. I will build it back up. So yeah, I just can't imagine the swings. Like in poker, we call it swings, right? You are chip leader 1 minute and then you're short stack the next. And what do? You can either push your chips in a bad situation and just be frustrated, or you can have the patience and discipline to wait for the best hand you could possibly have that's going to make you the most chips, and then build back up. I mean, there's a saying in poker, a chip in a chair, and I have lived that. I literally should have been the next person out before the money, and sat back and let other people take each other out, and wound up going on a run of a lifetime. So I think it is really knowing what you want. But to answer your question, what is my favorite moment at the table? Winning. I'm only there because I want to win.
Does winning get you more excited than not losing?
1,000,000%. I never play not to lose. And I learned that in the latter part of my career. And with what I do with Poker Power, I see more of that, of people, especially women in business. They are playing not to lose instead of winning. I hear so many women that they want to be nice, they want to be friendly, they feel like it's a bad thing to be aggressive.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but I've never come across any man who feels bad when he wins and when he does what it takes to win. So I don't play not to lose. I want to win.
Have you heard of the Jello experiment?
No.
So
Is this a sex thing?
It's not a sex thing. This is not that kind of show. Not until after 6. So they took two groups of people, 6 boys, 6 girls. They got Jello and they added salt to all of it. They gave the Jello to the girls and said, these old ladies made it. What do you think of the Jello? And all 6 girls ate the Jello and said, oh, it's lovely. You must have worked really hard to make it. They gave it to the boys and all 6 boys said, this is disgusting. It tastes of salt. Now, what they find from that is this idea that women are trained to be compassionate, to be caring, to be people pleasers, to not say the thing. And they extrapolate that, big word of the day, to say that they don't take as many chances, because why would they put themselves in front if it was to hurt someone else? Why be aggressive when simply by playing by the rules and playing like everyone else, it makes a big difference? And I was wondering, when you were a child, what games did you play? And did you find yourself leaning to the people-pleasing side or winning no matter what?
So I think I was part of both of them. I was an only child and raised by a single mom. So I think that definitely leans you a certain way in life. As an only child, I used to read a lot of studies, and only children want to be something extraordinary. They don't want to be normal. They want their parent to have that one child that they can say, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of. And my mom and I were very close. So everything I did growing up, I was a competitive ice skater. And then I went into acting. It was never, I want a normal life. I don't want to follow this path of go to school, go to college, and get a job and be part of the corporate world, because to me, that was normal. I wanted to do something where I was going to have a huge platform and I was going to have a voice and be able to make a difference in the world. I definitely dream very, very big. So I think it's always been to that nth degree is I want to win so I can get further and create this bigger persona and be this bigger persona.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks.
So I have a question for you, Lisa.
Yeah.
And I think this goes back to Jason and all of his risk taking. I think most women are risk adverse, and including myself. That's how I used to be until I started my own company. And I think that is a struggle for women to take that first leap of faith to start something, especially going out on your own where you know there's no safety net. So for me, starting my own business was a huge risk. And most people ask me, did you have a huge savings? Did you have, no, I had nothing. Okay. I took out my credit card and everything I needed. Just, you just close your eyes and hope for the best. And I think the most important thing is to keep moving forward, take the next step, and just keep taking the next step. And somehow that helped me to not be afraid of risk, especially because my industry was the event planning industry. And in 2020, everything shut down. It was starting another company all over again, one that did virtual events. So again, the same type of risk. And had I not been able to do that before, I definitely would have been much slower at starting the second time around. So poker definitely requires a unique blend of skills, risk taking being one of them. What else would you say are some essential ingredients that you've learned throughout your 20-year career?
Well, I definitely want to answer that, but I do want to go to exactly what you said, because this is what we find at Poker Power is that women are risk averse. They are afraid of making a mistake. And when you talk to a man, right, him trying to start a business doesn't seem like a huge risk, whereas women are more afraid of that. And why? I think personally, and what I'm learning through Poker Power and what I'm teaching is that when boys are growing up, they're playing poker at 13 and 14 years old. Poker gives us those skills to make you more comfortable with risk, to build your confidence, all of the things that you need to go off and start your business, right? And boys are playing it earlier and girls aren't. There's a stigma attached to it. We're not thinking that our daughters need to be playing this at 13 and 14. So when a young man is doing a college interview, interviewing for an internship, he has a leg up on that girl at 16 and 17. So I think this is why I'm so passionate about what we do at Poker Power and giving women these skills younger, teaching them strategies and things like that. So what do I think the game helps you with? I definitely think that the game will teach you confidence because you're bluffing, right? You have to represent things. You have to own it at the table. You are definitely taught risk because you have to bluff. You have to put all your chips in at one point. But is it the right risk at the right time? Are you reading the people at your table? Can you get away with this? Because there are people that you can kind of walk all over and you can get them to do what you want. And then there are people that are going to push back, just like in life and business, right? You're going to have people who are easier to negotiate with and who you will always have the upper hand over with, and people that are just going to push back. So I think those are really big things that poker teaches you.
Now, would you say who bluffs more at the table, men or women?
I think, well, women only make up about 5% of the field. So
Wow.
unfortunately, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm going to say that more men are used to it. But who do I think is better at it? If you ask professional poker players, men hate playing against women because they feel like we're harder to read. And I think that's something that women also aren't giving themselves enough credit for. We have a gut instinct that when most women will follow it, it's just more, we're in tune to it. And I think even as a businesswoman, Alicia, you must have seen this throughout your career, right? You had a gut instinct to do this, or how you pivoted in 2020, or there was something inside you that you just knew. Right now, there's a difference between having a true gut instinct and talking ourselves into it, right? Oh, I think my pocket threes are going to win. Do we really think that, or are we trying to talk ourselves into playing this hand? So I think being in tune with your gut is really key. But I think women are great bluffers, because there is that play it nice kind of persona, like you talked about, right? But when you really aren't playing nice, and which can I say, it's a game. Nobody plays Monopoly nice. You play to build all the hotels and mansions, right? So why is it we feel like in business or poker or something else that we need to succeed at, we have to play nice? There's there's no nice. There's no nice when it comes to winning. I'm not saying you should, do things that are illegal or immoral. I'm saying you do what it takes to win the game.
I love that.
Did
Yeah.
that answer your question? I know I went off on a bunch of tangents.
That's
That was
great.
gorgeous.
I love to talk about all of these things.
You can hear it. Your passion is so strong. I mean,
Yeah.
it's made me look for my chip stack here. So it's absolutely amazing. I have to ask. Sorry,
Yeah.
you please. No, Lisa.
No,
please.
no. I was just going to say we did an event with America Ferrara at Susie Welsh's house. And Susie Welsh looked up at me and said, I have never in my life met someone so passionate. And I was just like, holy crap, I know Susie Welsh has met a lot of people. And it's just so true. I mean, I'm a million years old, and most of my friends are looking to retire. And honestly, I would do what I do at Poker Power 24/7. I want to find those big stages and talk about all of the things that I can help people with through this game. So yeah, I'm definitely found my passion for sure.
When you say Susie Welch, do you mean the American author, television commentator, business advisor, public speaker, co-author
NYU professor? Yep.
And I love the
Beautiful
connection.
artwork in her home. Yeah.
Wow. She also wrote the book, The Rich Life MBA. And of course, you're listening to The Rich Life Recipe.
Oh, see? Susie, if you're out there.
We need to get her on the show.
Yeah,
100%.
she's amazing. She was really just an amazing, gracious, unbelievable woman. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I think before we move on, I know I speak for the audience when I say, how did you get into being a professional poker player, especially from an only child raised by your mother, and then going into acting, and then take us back to that pivot? And I mean, it sounds like a 180-degree pivot, but maybe you were thinking acting is the perfect gateway drug to poker playing. Take us there.
So we used to play just dealer choice games at my house growing up. And then I got married and we used to shoot pool. I had a pool league at my house every weekend. And one day a friend of mine came over, and not many people remember this, but the NHL went on strike. And ESPN didn't have anything else to put on TV. And they put the World Series of Poker main event. And that year, a guy named Chris Moneymaker won a $55 satellite and turned it into like $8 million. So me, being the Jersey girl, only child I am, was like, I can do that. And took myself down to Atlantic City and started playing little 1-2, no limit. And the World Series of Poker circuit event was coming to town, and it was $500. And in a million years, I couldn't imagine spending $500. So they had what we call a satellite. You pay like, I don't know, $80 or something, $60. I don't remember what it was. And you play and you win a seat into that tournament. And I'll never forget, I was playing with this older Eastern European man, big, big guy. And we got heads up. He had all the chips, pretty much. And he looks at me and he goes, I'll just give you your money back and we'll be done. And I was like, well, I can't really play unless I win the seat. So, nah. And he got so mad. And this is such a thing about reading people, right? He tilted so bad. He was so pissed that I wouldn't make a deal with him that he just lost it. Lost it. And I wound up winning the seat. So the next day I'm walking my daughter. Yes, I was super excited. And the next day I'm walking my little daughter, Lexi, to the bus stop. And I said, oh, mommy won this seat. And I can't decide if I should play the ladies event or the event that's, big and has everybody in it. She looks up at me and she goes, well, why wouldn't you want to beat everybody? And I was like, you are absolutely right, which is funny coming from her now because she's the one who now says, mommy, not everybody wants to win. And I was like, then they shouldn't play the game. But at that time, I was like, you are absolutely right. So I went down and literally like shaking, handing over that 500 to buy into the tournament. And it was surreal. I mean, I remember at the time some guy yelling at me, oh my God, I can't believe you played that hand like that. What are you doing? You got a gut shot. I didn't even know what the hell a gut shot was. There's something to be said about what you don't know and not playing the game perfectly because there is no perfect. So the end of the night comes and it's a 2-day tournament. I bagged up the chips and I was super superstitious at the time. So I drove home an hour and 15 minutes, washed all my clothes and had the same thing for breakfast, walked Lexi to the bus stop the next day, drove back in the morning. I wouldn't let anybody touch my chips and my Diet Coke had to be in the same spot. And I was a nutbag, absolute nutbag. So we make it to final table. And I literally knocked every single person out at the final table except one. And then we got heads up, and his name is Todd Messler, who I am now very, we're friendly. And he came up to me and wanted to make a deal. And again, I didn't even know that was a thing. He's like, well, why don't we lock up the amount of money and we'll play for the ring? And I was like, no, no, I just want to play. And now, there was a difference between almost $50,000 and $30,000 or $28,000. So now I know better. You lock up the money, because so much happens at the end. But I truly believe it was my destiny at that time. I wish social media had been what it is now, because I remember pounding the pavement trying to get sponsorship, and nobody wanted anything to do with gambling, which we went to the Supreme Court to prove that it is not. And it just came out that poker is a mind sport. An article just came out about that as well. So, I got interviewed and people were on the rail and asking me for my autograph. And I was like, this is so cool. So of course, what else would I do but become a professional poker player? Knowing nothing, I was like, oh, this is cool. And just figured that's what I would do. And little did I know that you should study, and there's a lot of mistakes I made along the way. But yeah, I've never been one who didn't want to do, I don't do many things just for fun. I want to win. So.
Yeah. I love that.
For those listeners who may not know, what does tilting and gut, what was the reference? Gut shot?
Gut shot, yeah. So
including myself, what does that mean?
Right. So tilt is when you can't control your emotions, right? You are now allowing your emotions to control the situation instead of doing your job. And this is really hard for a lot of people in poker because you are going to have hands where you should win. You have pocket aces, they have pocket twos. and you should win 80% of the time. But 20%, those pocket twos hit another two, right? They hit three of a kind. They run out a straight. They get a flush, something stupid. And it happens. And it's so frustrating, but you have to be able to move on, right? It's like Jason was saying before, you lose everything and you can either just wallow or you can get your head together and build another company, figure something else out. And also part of your job is to take advantage of that. If someone's tilting, in order to win, use that to your advantage. Same thing in business. If someone's being emotional, you use that to your advantage. Is this the best time to negotiate with them? Do you have the upper hand? Use it. They're giving you information. And then a gut shot is, so in poker, it's a 5-card game. A straight is 5 cards in sequential order. So 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen. If I have 8, 9, and King, Queen is on the board. 8, 9. No, sorry, Jack, Queen. 8, 9, I have 8, 9, and the board is Jack, Queen. I only can get a 10, which is inside the straight, right? I need the 10. There's only one of 4 10s in the deck. So that's what we call an inside straight or a gut shot straight draw.
Wow.
As opposed to if I have 8, 9, and the board is 10, Jack. Now I can have any 7 or any Queen. And that's what we call an open-ended straight. And you have better odds. Your risk is better when you are on an open-ended straight draw. Don't get me talking about poker. We'll go down a whole nother thing. I loves me some poker.
I love it.
I have a question for you. Acquaintance of mine, I'd love to call him a friend, but I'm never quite sure. When do you move someone from acquaintance to friend? But he is a poker player. And I was just wondering if the world is so small in poker that you may know of him or know him personally, which is a gentleman called Dan Fleischman.
So sounds familiar.
Okay.
But I will say this. If he's a high roller, I don't play a lot of the high rollers, or I don't play any of the high rollers. And also, I know a lot more people by face than name. Like I said, women make up less than 5% of the field. So I meet a lot more men than men meet a lot more women. So not that I'm so fabulous that I'm memorable, but I think
you are.
I do try and think I'm pretty awesome, but I think it's easier to remember the women that you play with than the men.
Gotcha.
But it does sound familiar, Fleischman.
He was the CEO of Victory Poker, and he was the chip leader of the final table of 2010's World Series Poker.
Oh, okay. Well, you might want to lead with that. So, yes, if he's final table of the main event, then I know of him. I know of him.
We've got to get him on here to talk about his Rich Life recipe.
Definitely.
So I have to ask. So you go and do this, and you come home as the winner. What's the first thing you say to your daughter?
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think. So I had to have my husband come down. I wouldn't even let anybody come to see me. I didn't even tell people. Like, that's how superstitious I was. Wow. But now I'm walking out of the casino with almost 50,000. And it was like, maybe somebody should come and grab some money for me.
Security.
Right. Yeah. So I do, like, obviously, I went home and was just so excited, and they didn't understand. Like, they didn't know anything about poker. And my daughter was literally like in kindergarten. She was kindergarten. So the fact of winning $5 or 50,000 isn't going to make a difference to her. We went shopping. It was, I'm sure, like, she got something great as a present. And because I always loved, we put in a new pool. I know that. We put in a new pool with a waterfall. And that was definitely a big present for the family. But we just went shopping, and I was so grateful, just telling her, like, mommy wouldn't have played that event and I wouldn't have beat everyone. And I didn't know that no woman had won that event. Oh, and that's the other thing. When I won, you normally get a World Series of Poker circuit ring, which I should I've had here, duh. But you have the ring. They wanted to give me, they asked me, they're like, well, Lise, it's really big. Would you rather have the pendant that we give the women for the ladies event?
No.
I was like,
No.
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 I was like, no woman has this. So it was very, very cool. And it's huge. Like, I remember it like comes up here, and I had to take some of the gold out and like put a guard on it. But it was
Wow.
like, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That is
And I mean,
amazing.
believe me, there are many women that have a lot more rings, bracelets, and everything. But the fact that I have a piece of history in the game that I love, I just wish I knew more back then of how to parlay that into something, because I truly feel, maybe, and that's why I'm as passionate as I am now. I truly feel that my voice matters in this game and how this game helps other women. I mean, I'm going to schools like Harvard and Tulane and Michigan and all of these schools teaching these skills, and also going to huge finance companies and tech companies and talking with founders and funders. And if I can help them figure out the best partner because I'm helping them become a better reader of people, if I can help them not tilt or be patient, right? Discipline is so key in poker. And it's the only place, I promise you, poker table is the only place I have patience. I could fold for hours, let alone any place else in my life. I want it yesterday. And I've not really been able to get over that. But at the poker table, seriously, like I folded for an hour and 40 minutes straight in a tournament one time.
Wow.
Yeah. Like,
It's amazing.
but then you keep those chips and you run it up. So it's worth it.
I love that. I think there's something so powerful about that idea. I say to my friends all the time, because it's been 2.5 years since I've retired on my last company, and everyone keeps asking, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? And I say, I am the most successful doctor you know. And they go, what does that mean? And I say, I have nothing but patience. I have patience down the road. I will wait. I will wait
Oh
till
my
the
gosh.
perfect hand comes, and then I will play it. I will not play any other hand. I will not just start a company for the sake of it, or take a job, or do something. I will wait. Right? I one of the things I love is a stoicism, and Marcus Aurelius says this thing about how you got to love the hand that fate deals you, and play it as it's your own. But you should
Mm,
wait for that hand. So
yes.
I love that you
I
said
love
patience is
that.
important. Yeah,
I
that's a good
love
one.
that. But that's exactly why you are successful. Because why are you going to start something that you don't believe in, right?
Yeah,
That you're not passionate about?
yeah,
Could it work? Sure, it might. It'll get off the ground, but it won't be knocking it out of the park,
yeah,
right? There has to be
exactly.
a reason people create something. Um, I feel like people that are creative have that gene in them, and they have to create. And when they
Agreed.
don't have an outlet, they feel that missing piece of them in their life. So I feel like it's the same way when you're competitive, when you're a business person, there's a reason you do what you do. So why are you just going to throw money into something? And it's also the time, what it takes to be a successful business person, what it takes to be a professional poker player or an actor. I used to tell people all the time, if there is any job in the world that you even remotely can see yourself doing other than being an actor, go do that, because that business will eat you alive. And it's the same way with poker. You literally go to work every day and somebody goes, okay, pay me to work. And sometimes you lose, you just lose. You lose whatever that buy-in is for the day, 1,000, 1,800, 500. You just don't get it, right? Because you can't win every day. And the same thing in acting. You walk in that casting director's office, you're not going to get every job. So it's a lot of no's. So if you are not passionate about it, there's no way you want to wake up every day and do it.
Well said.
And patience, which I'm the exact opposite of Jason. I've known Jason a long time and he definitely has patience. And I'm the exact opposite. I have zero patience, which is why poker is probably not the game for me. I believe in calculated risk. I don't just throw willy-nilly out there, but I definitely struggle with patience for sure.
Right. But so where do you feel that you could be more patient?
Oh, everywhere.
So I need to get you at the poker table.
Right. I think mostly with people, and their timing, other people's timing that may not coincide with my own timing.
Mm-hmm. But but you are being patient because maybe that person's timing isn't what you need. And now you're moving on. Right. So that's why you say you make calculated risks, because you're taking in all of that information. So maybe you don't need to hear anymore. I don't know.
Sure
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Maybe you do, right? And we just don't know it.
May not. I mean, yeah, it's a very good point. So back to what you said earlier, when you said sometimes you just lose that $500, could be $50,000, whatever that number is. How do you then go home and recuperate from that? What do you do to digest it and be free of that sense of loss?
Yeah. So again, when I first started out, I didn't know anybody. There weren't coaching sites like there are now. I think just like in anything, when you have a mentor, when you have a coach, when you have someone that can kind of guide you, it helps, right? So when I first started out, I knew nothing about bankroll management. Absolutely nothing. You talk about putting things on your credit card, Alicia. When my ex-husband and I started his business, at the time, we had a auto repair shop, and it was the same thing. Like, I had great credit in my early 20s. Don't ask me how. And we just literally, I handed over all my credit cards, and I was like, let's go. Let's build this business. And we put 50 grand on our credit cards, and he built that shop. And then it was kind of the same thing in poker. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to put money on my credit cards. But I didn't know all the work that my ex-husband did every month, moving that money around. So you weren't paying the interest and this, then I was taking, what are they called? Cash advances and doing things. I didn't know that had a different APR and how much interest. I didn't pay the bills. So I didn't know. Right. So very, very stupid, learning a lot of lessons. And then you just think that it's always going to come, because when you are playing, you think you're always going to win. Why not? And unfortunately, you have downswings that you can't control. There are times where you are just going to what we call run bad. Your aces are going to get cracked. You aren't going to hit those cards, like I said, that are a draw, those things that we make the right play at, and it doesn't work out. So it becomes surrounding yourself with the right people to help you stay in the right mindset. Not falling into a deeper space. When you walk in there, especially for a tournament, when you walk into a tournament and you buy in $5,000, $1,000, 500, it's gone. It is no longer money because you paid for chips. And those chips have no value. So when you are playing, you are only playing to win, right? And that's what is frustrating when people have huge bankrolls, because they can play what we call a lot looser, right? They can make riskier moves that aren't the best, but they can take those spots and put you in a tougher position because they have the money behind it. So you have to balance those type of things as well. But I think surrounding yourself with the right people and analyzing your play, being really honest with yourself. Did you play at your optimum? Did you do the best you possibly could? And if you did, there's no reason to beat yourself up. If you didn't, then go back and talk to your coach. Go back and study more. Put the work in. I hate studying. I will never be a high roller because I don't want to study. I hate it. I don't want to study charts and computers. And to me, poker is the live reads and being able to do things at the table and make moves at the table that don't have anything to do with a chart. So that's why I'm never going to be the best. That's all right. I don't want to be the best there.
Okay. I don't know. You did win the World Series. I feel like you probably are the best. I mean, 5% of women.
Listen, I am so not the best. I assure you. My friend Chrissy, now she is one of the best. This woman is a beast at the table. She doesn't care, man, woman, whatever. And nobody loves the game more than she. Her and her husband study, and they're just brilliant. And I believe like people have inherent talents, right? There's a reason somebody's a better football player than somebody else. Even though they train and work hard, some people are just going to have natural talent. So yeah, I mean, I'd still like to be the first woman to win the main event. No woman has done that yet. And a lot less pros win that and more recreational players, because there's a lot of luck involved in 7 days, and, just everything has to fall into place. And again, I feel like that's one of those that it's just meant to be. And I just want to win it so I can use that as a platform. I figure I'll be on every talk show, and I just want to do certain things within the foster care system. So I figure, if I'm on Kelly and Mark, some Kardashian will hear me. Yeah, some Kardashian will hear me, and we can make it happen.
So 3 things there that I want to unpack. The first is a quote for those that are listening. And the quote is this: an expert is just a person who's made all the mistakes. I think one of the things I was picking up from everything you're saying is you got there by doing the work, but making the mistakes, learning from them, and then doing the work. And that's something I think a lot of people don't do. They don't want to do the work. They want the prize, but not have to do the process. Mm-hmm. And I love that you said that you did the work. The second thing is about talent. Something I say to people all the time. Talent beats hard work all the time. And then occasionally, when people realize there's a blueprint and they put the blueprint to hard work, they beat talent. But when talent also works hard and follows the lessons and does the reading and does the research, then it cannot be beaten. And I think we're so quick as humans to be like, oh, I've got a chance at that. And I can do, you can definitely do really well in your space, but you always have to realize that you are playing predominantly against a rigged game. Like the house wins how many times out of it? Almost 100% of the time, the house will win. And we'll talk about the Rich Life recipe. We're going to tell you recipes from different types of people from all over the world, because certain recipes will work perfectly for you, but certain recipes might not also work for you because of some sort of, you just didn't get the right cards. Just not this time, just not this game. And then ending, I'm going to link you up with someone called Justin, who works for a company called Justin Media. And I think he can get you that exposure on Kelly and all those things. So that is something I'm going to do as a thank you for being on this podcast. I've just made a note of it. So I will do that straight after this episode.
That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure. I appreciate it. I love this. This was so fantastic. And I wish the both of you all of the luck in the world. I know you're putting in the work. So very, very happy to be a part of it. And I appreciate it.
Same here. Jace, do we want to end with Lisa doing our 3, if you had to choose, want to do that?
I would love that. Yes, please. Do you want to put the questions forward, Alicia, so it's easier, one by one?
You have it. Yeah. We're going to the 3 things of recipe.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Right. Just give me 1 second because my mouth is so dry.
Sophia, if you want to edit out, obviously, this part, and then just bring it straight back in when she comes back in.
Okay. So thank you, Lisa. So finally, if you had to choose one ingredient for each, healthy, wealthy, and wise, for our listeners, what would you tell them is their own recipe for life? What would that be?
Sleep, money management, and surround yourself with people that truly want you to succeed.
I love that. I want to break that down. Let's talk sleep. Do you have a sleep ritual that our listeners could implement into their own lives?
I'm actually terrible with my sleep patterns because when I travel, I don't sleep as much as I should. And I also try and do my manifesting before I go to sleep. And for some reason, I think it wakes me up. So, and they say that that's the best time to put all of your intentions into the universe. So I'm still balancing that. But for me, like 6 hours, that's pretty gold. If I can get 6 hours of sleep, yeah, I'm good there.
Wow. The second one you said was money management. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Give us some tips, 1 to 3 tips on money management that has changed your relationship with money, that perhaps again can help someone out there right now that's going, I have the exact same problem. I don't know where I'm putting it, what I'm doing with it, how I'm spending it, saving it, earning it, etc.
Get someone who knows what the heck they're doing. I
love
think
that.
I think part of us, some of us don't want to admit that we don't know things. And one of the things my ex-husband used to say all the time is, like, if he went to a business, he would say, I'm not going to tell you how to do blah, blah, blah. You don't tell me how to fix your car. And it's true. Like, I don't want to tell you where to invest my money or how to invest my money or what percentage, because I don't know. Because if I did, obviously I wouldn't make so many mistakes. So find someone that you trust. Find an expert in that field, whether you are starting a startup. Talk to people who know about fundraising, those funding rounds. That's a whole nother level. So surround yourself with those people, and stick to your plan. Whatever. I used to hate the B word, budget. I like to buy. Like, I am definitely one of those
I like
people.
that B word, buy.
Yeah.
Exactly. I am the reason they put things up at the cash register. Those impulse buyers, that's me. If they could put, really high end items up there, they would, because they know, oh, Lisa's here, jack up the price. So when you finally hire that person or surround yourself with that person that knows about the bankroll management, stick to the plan that they tell you. If they're putting you on a budget, stay within the budget. You have to. Sucks.
If
It's
I could
not fun.
extrapolate from that, here's my one liner for the audience. And here's the line that's helped me with my money management, because I'm the same. I am a buyer. I love to celebrate wins. The smallest win in the world. In fact, today I started a newsletter, and to celebrate, I bought myself a cruise around the Caribbean. Like, that is ridiculous.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
I have
Any
actual
buyer's
problems.
remorse?
None.
I
None.
am definitely wanting to be at the top of wife number 4 list, because that is my kind of celebration for a win. Like, I love
Thank
that.
you.
I
Thank
say
you
the
very
same
much.
thing. Women need to celebrate their wins. I absolutely love that. A cruiser, and I love the Caribbean. Grand Cayman, one of my favorite places on the
I
earth.
can't wait. I haven't done it yet. I'm going to fly into Puerto Rico, and then I'm going to go do all the islands, and then go to
Yes.
Tampa, and then Disney World, and then come home. But
Woohoo.
my one liner for those that are listening is this: don't ask how, ask who. Instead of trying to work it out for yourself, like she said brilliantly, find someone who has the answer, who's done well, who knows how to manage, or knows how to earn, or knows how to grow, and learn from them, and then stick to the plan. Close your eyes, or be like one of those racehorses. We're talking about gambling. Put them on blinkers and just follow the plan. It's not gambling. It is a mind sport that was put out in November 2024, along with other games like bridge, chess,
Yes.
and mahjong and Go, I think, with the
Yes.
full. So, yes.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. I absolutely love that, because it is, why are you spinning your wheels trying to figure something out? And all of that time you're wasting not doing the thing you're good at.
100%. 100%.
Totally.
And the last one in your Rich Life recipe was number 3. Sleep, money, surround yourself.
Surround yourself with people that truly want you to succeed.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
So important.
Absolutely. I think your tribe is probably one of the top 3 priorities you should have. And I also think that if you look at successful people, it's also networking, right? Networking is key. And how does that network form? By surrounding yourself with people that are in your industry who know more than you know. You're supposed to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you.
Agreed.
And
Absolutely.
also, I would add, get rid of the people who bring you down or have that low vibe energy, even if they're your family. I mean, it's like they say, small doses. Limit the time of exposure to that.
Absolutely agree with that. Get rid of the toxic in your life. Yep.
For our listeners who want to find out more about Poker Power, which sounds incredible, where can they go? What should be their first step after listening to this episode?
Well, I thank you, because Poker Power is incredible. I love the mission that we're on. We have a website, pokerpower.com. If you are a corporation, we do live events. We bring teachers there. We do a presentation, and we talk about all of these things, and we help you with discipline. We help you become a better negotiator. We help you deal with the risk assessment. So yeah, I absolutely love that. We also do virtual lessons. We have a Facebook group. We have our own app, the Poker Power app. We don't deal any money. We don't deal with money at all. So it's a free app, and you can go on there and you can take tutorials, you can sign up for lessons, you can play in community games against other people. We're growing this network of amazing women. So yeah, be part of our community, Poker Powers community, and you will see life-changing moments.
I love
and
that.
We have Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff
Very
too.
cool.
Yeah.
Of course. That's fantastic.
LinkedIn.
I've already connected with you on LinkedIn, and I love your posts.
I was so excited. I love that.
Very, very cool. So that brings us to the end of our episode with Lisa. Of course, we are definitely going to bring her back. So make sure to leave a comment, one word, anything, whether it's manifestation, whether it's poker power. I literally use 2 words for that. Whether it's don't bluff with your muff. Thank you, Lady Gaga. Whether it's poker face, whatever it is that you found a connection to in this show, I would like you to write it in the comments. Of course, in our show notes, we'll have everything we talked about in this episode. So you can go out and find out more about what Lisa's doing and what is the true power of poker.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you guys so much. This was awesome. I really appreciate you having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to have you again.
Yay.
All right.
If you love this episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss your weekly fix. New episodes are released every Wednesday. And if you think this podcast could help someone in your life build their own rich life recipe, please make sure to share this with them too.
Hi, I'm Jason Scott. You may recognize me from such podcasts as, well, the one you were just listening to. I've done a bunch of podcasts. In fact, I'm the first person ever to not sell one show, but sell 2. To find over 20 ways to promote a show, to get more listeners. I've also found over 30 ways to make money from my podcast. It was at this stage that so many people came to me and asked me one question. How? How do you make money from a podcast? Which blew my mind because I kind of accepted that everyone was making money from a podcast, or why were they starting a podcast? But here's the trick. There's a formula that I found out back in 2015, and I've tested on people over and over and over again. To finally finding out that there's one recipe, just like the Rich Life recipe, a recipe to success. For the first time ever, we have a course that has everything in it. How to start a podcast, how to grow a podcast, how to promote a podcast, and how to profit from a podcast. I've done it in multiple podcast types, from lifestyle, to business, to financial, to crypto. So this is your chance. And because you've come this far, I'd love to give you a gift. If you use the coupon code LISTENER, you will get 20% off. What I'd love you to do is go to the link podcastingforbusiness.co and open the gate and meet me on the other side.